All right, we have this man right here in the house himself, the man himself, who I first saw on FOMO or Pass, George's show, baby. And this project, Rocifi, is doing things never seen yet, or never, I don't think, accomplished yet in decentralized finance. Rocifi, guys, and I have to give you a huge apology, Chris. We've been all over the place. Kong and I have been talking with this awesome dude right here, Chris, with Rocifi, about helping him out, getting going. They've got a lot going. They've been building. They're planning on launching their token here soon, and we were going to help them out. And I kind of dropped the ball, guys. I remember 4th of July, we went to the lake, and that was a full week. We had all this building up towards it, and then life just got crazy. The summer, head spinning, all kinds of things going on, and we kind of let this one slip away. Wanted to connect more with this man, help him out, because here's what I love to do on this channel. Here's what we do. We find guys like Mikhail right here in the house. We find awesome projects, awesome people out there in the space with strong core values, looking out for the best interests of others, even over their own best interests, that have a strong why and a vision and a passion that's driving them. They're not money driven. They're not looking at the 5 minutes in front of their face trying to make a quick buck. No, they have a vision to solve problems or create a fun game or do some awesome innovation. And lo and behold, we found one. We've connected with this guy, Chris, with Rocifi. He's phenomenal. This guy, he's like our people. Really good dudes. I could even see he's looking to partner and with all kinds of different projects out there. I could see, we haven't even talked about this before, honestly. I could see Rocifi partnering with Defi Kingdoms someday. I mean, DeFi Kingdoms used to talk about lending, on their blockchain. They have their own chain, the DFKChain, and Avalanche subnet, for example. And that's what they do. They're making partnerships. If you're out there, you follow them on Twitter, in the description below, you're gonna see that these guys are grinding. It's like every day he's in a new spaces, making a new partnership with new DeFi platforms, lending platforms, Rocifi. They're doing things, that I wasn't even ever sure it would even be possible. Things like undercollateralized lending and decentralized credit scoring. How is that even possible? We're going to talk about it today, and I have to give some more love and a shout out to our man Mikhail, who's got a meeting coming up here in a few minutes. But I'm like, Mikhail, get in here, because it's this man Mikhail who connected Chris with George. Okay, and helped get him on there to FOMO or Pass. That's got 50,000 views now. And with both George and Brian gave it a hard FOMO. You don't see that very often, right, on his show. I love it. Mikhail, Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Super happy to be here.
Good to see you again, Grady.
Yeah, and I know, Mikhail, you're going to have to drop off here. I want to get you in here because he's a good dude. Put out a great interview that we had on his channel. You got to make sure you like and sub and follow this guy's channel, Mikhail, because he's such a good dude. And guys, it was such a good interview. Mikhail, you did a good job on that. It came out great. Mikhail, so tell us, how did you connect since Mikhail, you're about to go, how did you connect with this man? How did you meet Chris and Rocifi, and how did you make that connection with George?
Yeah, thanks again for having me, and it's great to see you again, Chris. Yeah. I connected with Chris way back in the day. It was actually through Block Venture. A friend of mine, Tyler, down in Florida, he made a warm introduction. I think at the time, Chris needed some help on the security side just to make sure there's full transparency, full security. They obviously take security very seriously. And so we worked on that side, and then we just continue to cultivate the relationship. I gave him a heads up that I'm building out this community of builders, ecosystem heads, and venture capitalists that are essentially pioneering this amazing industry. And he said, hey, why not? I'll join. And then through that, I was just making warm introductions, and George from Cryptos R Us is in there as well. Made that introduction, and it's just the power of networking. You meet one person who introduces you to another, and next thing you know, you're on a podcast with Crypto Grady. So
I love it. I love you, man. Okay, Chris, what has been going on since early July, late June? I've been seeing some partnerships out there. Tell me what's going on. When's this token launch coming? Catch us up here, man.
Yeah, so I think first off, like Mikhail's obviously a great guy, and it's great to see you again. He's definitely been excellent at the connecting piece. I mean, again, like you mentioned, this was beginning of 2022 where we were talking and about getting the original V1 audited of Rocifi. So he's been a staple like within sort of our network for a long time, but then also has continued to grow as he's expanded out and looking to add additional value to the Web3 ecosystem, which I think has been awesome. So super, super great to see you again. So like Grady, from our perspective, like, yeah, we've been super busy. I mean, our biggest push, which even in summer right now, it seems like there's a lot more activity typically than I would expect in the market, is just continuing to bring awareness to like all the cool stuff that we built. Like, yeah, there's a bear market, but at the end of the day, we still have built one of the most unique, like foundational pieces for DeFi, and we hope Web3 more broadly. So we've been sort of pounding that drum, but also doing a lot of biz dev to bring through deals and partnerships through the door so that users and projects can integrate our credit scoring and lay the foundation to be able to drive additional use cases that are currently devoid within DeFi. So you mentioned it at the top of the call, under-collateralized lending. We essentially were built with that vision to be able to enable blockchain native under-collateralized credit. So users are only required if they've got an EVM compatible address, connection to the internet, and history attached to that to be able to mint a Rocifi credit score. Then they have the ability, or should have the ability, to gain access to under collateralized credit no matter where they're at, geographically speaking. So that is our vision that we started with. And we're slowly laying those pieces out there with different partnerships to be able to do that and tackle some of these more unique use cases. So there's been a lot of partnership fronts. Gora Network, which is an Oracle network that sprung up on Algorand, but going cross-chain very rapidly, has integrated our credit score. So now any project or protocol on Algorand can query our scores and integrate it seamlessly with smart contracts. But then also they'll be expanding to Arbitrum and Polygon at the beginning of next month as well, just as a sort of starter. So partnerships like that, which you'll see more and more, and that doesn't include the 10 other ones that we've been working on, are happening like really quickly. And I think that's just a testament to the space, the maturation of the space. People are finally saying like speculation's awesome, which we still see a lot of that with Friendtech. But people are finally saying like, hey, there has to be something more here. We have to be able to drive a real world benefit and use case. And projects and protocols are now way more willing to cooperate and partner to start to lay those pieces and hopefully bring those use cases to life. So yeah, we've been super busy, but it's also been pretty fulfilling as well.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. There's a problem going on with DeFi, and it's so important. Like we have DeFi has kind of been dying off. We've seen a lot of protocols dying off, and it's so important for this ecosystem to survive. I would say we need good, strong, solid, decentralized finance to be working properly. Otherwise, things really start breaking down. Okay, and unless we all want to become Bitcoin maxis, okay, and so these types of innovations and partnerships, having DeFi sustain is key. Having sustainable yield farming, I think, is important because we become the banks essentially instead of a centralized figure that's in charge of the money. But hey, if that's breaking down, so this is just, I would say, another solid step towards potential sustainable DeFi happening out there. I don't even know, man, how you guys do it, how you founders of projects out there grinding through the bear. It's hell. It's insane to try and start projects like this and actually have it, stick and sustain, especially through a bear market. So kudos to you, Chris. Okay. So, and Mikhail, any last thoughts? So I know you got to run. You've got a meeting to go catch up to.
No, I was just excited that Chris had the opportunity to take the stage and kind of share more about the platform and everything that he's been working on. And like I said, I've known Rocifi for almost 2 years now, and to see them evolve has been tremendous. So looking forward to seeing where else the journey goes, and you know, the functionality of Rocifi, and you know, the credit score. I think it's an interesting concept in you know, the decentralized world. So it'll be interesting to see where it takes off.
Okay, yeah, man. Catch you so much for coming on, Mikhail. Love you, bro. Have a good weekend. All right, we'll
take care.
Yeah. Okay. So, Chris, my man, what's going on here? What's going on with the token launch? No, there's been a lot of discussions there. What can you tell us? Is there anything you can tell us there?
For sure. So the token launch is slated for mid-September. I wanted to be able to provide like firm on the date, in all honesty. And I know that those that watch the FOMO or past show like heard another date and were probably like, well, this guy's full of shit. Why would I trust any date that he says? And like it's clearly, you know, you always put these dates out there knowing that with best intentions, but like the market's going to do what the market's going to do, and you can never control the future. We don't have a crystal ball. But as we sit here in the here and now and present, middle of September next month is whenever we're targeted. And we'll have a lot of announcements over these coming weeks, really laying the foundation and talking about that token, like not only the tokenomics, but also the utility and how it's going to play into the grand vision as to where we see Roci going into, to be able to enable a lot of these new use cases within DeFi and Web3. So more information like forthcoming, but it is going to be happening really, really quickly. And I'm always more than happy to sort of, you know, hop back on even for a second, like Mikhail did, to be like, hey, oh yeah, by the way, it's launching on this day or whatnot. But I think you hit the nail on the head whenever you're talking previously around like innovation and like why DeFi has been dying off and so stale. Not only does like market participants have a short memory, like herd mentality, but also there hasn't been any innovation. Like, let's be honest, 99% of the lending protocols that are out in DeFi are just forks of Compound or Aave. So they inherit the same exact limitations and structures that those platforms had, because they were never built to actually solve new use cases like what DeFi or Web3 is now demanding, you know, 3-4 years in the future. So they fork it, they slap on some fancy token economics on top of it, and, you know, investors throw money at it. And that's great for them, but that doesn't drive the path forward. And that's also one of the reasons why DeFi is no longer sexy. And we're slugging through it, and you know, putting those foundational pieces together so that you know, we can break from that what's been keeping us back. But more than anything, to be able to service the end user better. Like, there's one thing that I've constantly been talking about more and more that I want to continue to harp on is like, Web3 users need the ability to monetize their on-chain history and reputation. So like, I'll say that again. Web3 users need the ability to monetize their on-chain history and reputation. And our credit scores neatly pack or encompass both of those two components. So we need to work on our side, which is token. That is also a component to be able to incentivize and reward people. But at the same exact time, building out the network and the ecosystem of projects that are partnering to deliver superior experiences to their users that will benefit them, but also help them stand apart from the pack as well. Like, why the hell would anyone go with a mid-tier lending protocol if they've got Aave or Compound? And you see it across all the, you know, L1s and L2s that have popped up. For the most part, Aave and Compound still rule the roost. It's because there's nothing really differentiated. By tapping into our credit scores and being able to serve your users better with customized borrow rates or lending terms or boosted rewards, whatever have you, the list goes on and on. Not only can you better stand apart from your peers, but then also users, they have a clear present line to, oh, I want to guard what I do on chain because it is making me money and I don't want to screw that up. And again, I don't agree fully with how Friendtech has gone about it, but they show clear and present that users are dying for a way to monetize their on-chain reputation, whether that be Twitter or what they do on chain. And they're willing to sacrifice like a lot of personal information as long as the incentives are actually correct. I don't want people to like dox a bunch of shit or anything like that with our credit scores. But at the same exact time, we want to drive a clear path of incentives for them to build that ecosystem. And I think that is something that Web3 is sorely needing. DeFi is sorely needing.
Yep.
And yeah, we're trying to solve as best as possible.
And there is no doxing at all, period, with Rocifi, right?
No.
Yeah, it's 100% decentralized. Here's the thing. Here's one beautiful thing with DeFi, guys, and I used to do this all the time. Instead of selling your crypto and then having to pay capital gains tax on that, you can lend against your crypto like Michael Saylor does, right? As we hear. And Michael Saylor said he'll never sell his Bitcoin. If he ever needs money, he'll just lend against it. But there's potential problems there. Has anyone ever been liquidated? Here's how this works. You loan against your Bitcoin, but if Bitcoin drops in value, okay, what can happen is your collateral, your Bitcoin can get then sold off to repay the loan. And then you lose, your Bitcoin is then, you paid off your loan. Yes. But now you don't have that Bitcoin. Okay. That's people were looking at Michael Saylor at one point at his liquidation rate. Well, of course, no problem there. He had it covered. He's good, but it can be a pain. One time I went to bed and I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to deal with this tomorrow. I had some Matic, had about 10 to 15 grand. I can't remember exactly. Okay. Worth of Matic. Okay, on a lending platform out there on Polygon, and I go to bed. Matic was somewhere around in the $1.30 to $1.35 to $1.38 range, somewhere in there. The liquidation point, if Matic were to drop down to $1.10, well, I would be liquidated. I go to bed. I was planning on dealing with it, and then I remember as I went to bed, I was like, there's some FUD or something going on with Matic. I'm like, I got to deal with that, and I'll just deal with it when I wake up. Well, Matic had wicked down, boom, liquidated me. I wake back up, okay, and it had gone, I went to bed. It was like somewhere around $1.38, $1.35. Well, wicked down, liquidated me, and then it was back up close to $1.30. Okay, so I had been liquidated. Well, Rocifi, one of the things they offer to some is under collateralized lending, where you don't have to worry about being liquidated. That's huge. And then number two, they look at I think it's a pretty robust technology going on here, is that they can actually look at your history from your blockchain, from your address, completely decentralized, because people have been skeptical. How do you do credit scoring decentralized? And if I could just screw over Rocifi and just start a new wallet, right? Okay, but now you don't have any history on that. But they can look, they have some awesome tools that they themselves have created and that they also use to, look at and kind of give you a credit score based off your wallet history. I think it's big brains. It's huge. I mean, my goal, one thing I want to see out there is where I don't need the banks anymore. The banks fight back hard against that. Things are so manipulated, okay, these days. And if we can get around having to go to the banks, well, this is a step closer to that, where we can, I love this. I love this, Chris. Okay, what else?
So I just want to let's put some some clarifying pieces on that. So
okay.
from like under collateralized lending. So like we started with that vision, then the bear market sort of hit. So we scaled back. So the loans that are available right now, like the LTVs are higher, but it's not fully under collateralized any longer. I suspect as things continue to smooth out in the market, then that is areas that we can go back to. There's also other projects that we're speaking with right now that are better equipped to be able to bring that vision to life potentially for us, or more willing to take on that risk because they got a few more years of operation under their belts and a bigger treasury to be able to take in or cover some of those losses that are inevitable of under collateralized lending. You're going to take losses whenever you're lending. The key is risk management so that they benefit you ultimately by the interest that you're making, the difference between interest and minus your losses, but also the information that you're collecting as well, because every time someone defaults, that is super valuable information, especially from an on-chain perspective, to see the different types of behaviors that ultimately drive those decisions. Is it purely market related to where the value of their collateral has dropped beneath the value of the loan that they took out, and it is rational for them to simply walk away or default on the loan? Or is it something more nefarious where they came to the platform looking fully intent to defraud? And all these different unique pieces are really why our credit score is there's no competition. Like, we're really the only one that's in the house, but that is something that can really benefit some of these platforms longer term. So just to make that super clear, we're really focused on enabling these cross-chain use cases through our credit scoring apparatus. Second piece, as you talked about, like decentralized credit scoring, like how can that be done? For sure, it has to be a piecewise step. Like, you can't just decentralize and make everything open source from day one, because then bad actors will come and take advantage of it. So we've got a lot of unique announcements. And actually tomorrow we have an AMA with the CEO of Modulus Labs, whose name's Daniel Shore. And for those that don't know, and I suspect many won't because it's a bit obscure section of the market, but that is a company focused on zero knowledge machine learning. So essentially being able to take off-chain machine learning models, which our credit scoring is, and then bring them on-chain in a private but also publicly verifiable and trustless manner, so that users that are receiving that score know that what is being attested to them is verified and it's gone through a set of checks and parameters, whatever they may be. And that is all done on chain. That is one of the first steps for us to ultimately not just decentralize everything with the token as the mechanism, but turn our credit scoring system into a common good that is governed by the DAO in the community. So we're a long way from like that vision, because again, we've got to put these intermediary bricks in place. But given you mentioned it, and it ties back into our upcoming token launch at the middle of next month, September, I thought it was worthwhile just sort of talking about it. But zero knowledge ZKML is one of the more hot topics right now that I think look out over the next 2 to 3 years. And I'll be excited because Roci will be right there at the center forefront of it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the tech behind, because you said it's been a lot. You spent a lot of money developing, being able to properly create credit scoring and how to fine tune all that. And you have kind of blown my mind before when we've spoken about that. And I also want to ask you, I don't know, how did I not see this pinned message? I see your tweets all the time, but what the heck? We got breaking news. Brian D. Evans is now a strategic advisor for Rocifi. Brian is a reputed Web3 investor and advisor with over 1 million followers. He's co-host FOMO or Pass that we talked about beginning of the stream with George, baby. So yeah, and this is that link to that. But look at this. We got Rocifi, the next crypto gem, Hourglass, Bitspoke TV. Those are my people right there, baby. Okay. So sorry, there's two things. We'll come back to this. Tell me a little bit more about the tech and the pains of having to fine tune, and have the proper risk assessment as you're grading and giving these credit scores.
So that will take far more time than we have on this.
Give me an elevator,
Yeah, but suffice it to say is what I tell people. So we've got a pretty comprehensive data infrastructure that we built out from scratch, and we did incorrectly the first time and then had to revamp it and do it correctly the second time. That's also a component that will be open, that will be making decentralized as well, so that there is no single point of failure, but also no single point of censorship as well. No different than what you would see with any sort of node network from either a proof of stake blockchain or even an Oracle network as well. That's exactly what we're going to be doing with the token as the mechanism to be able to stand up those decentralized nodes. So we've got the base layer of data infrastructure, which is really, really one of the key pieces, because there's a common fallacy out there that blockchain, all the information is publicly available on the blockchain. Just go grab some. It's free for everyone to have. Not true at all. Anyone that's actually tried to get their hands dirty will attest that it is a huge pain point. Don't let the Dune dashboards that you see confuse you, because those are nice. But if you really want to dive into some granular level detail, clean it, and have it actually be usable or understandable, it's damn near impossible unless you are a specialist in that particular area, which we happen to be because we're doing data ML. So that is a real big piece of it. But essentially how that feeds into our machine learning credit scoring model is we look at two buckets, just to keep it super simple. One is your transaction history. Where has this wallet gone and who has it interacted with? Where's it gone? What's it done? And has it interacted with any addresses that are known to be bad, fraudulent, like hacks, phishing, exploits, etc.? It looks at that, but then it also looks like if you're trading a lot, are you actually making money? You know, what is your capacity to service debt if you're going to take it out via the platform based upon all the different transaction histories that you've done previously across Ethereum primarily, but then also other EVM compatible chains. The second bucket that we look at is lending history. So if you want to come and take out an under collateralized loan, so let's just say from one of our partners on Algorand or Arbitrum, but you've never borrowed from Aave, Compound, or anywhere else within DeFi, that doesn't mean you're a bad actor or a bad person, but that does create a potential void in the system being able to understand whether or not you can manage risk and repay debt. So those are the two buckets that our modeling system really keys on. And it's over tons of different features that are tested for significance and all the sort of statistics, buzzwords, jargon. But those are the two buckets that we look at. So whenever users are like, well, how does my credit score, how does my credit score get generated? That is how it gets generated. And we'll also be releasing sort of like a public dashboard as well that will allow users to kind of plug in their address and pull up a user, almost like a full user profile or diagnostic on their address to be able to see some of those features as to what is driving their score. So if you've got a bad score, and then you can see clearly that you've been liquidated 15 times since the wallet has been in existence for a total of $150,000, and you've only taken out 12 or 20 loans to date. Like your batting average of being able to manage risk is actually pretty poor. So you'll be able to understand why that's driving your credit score. So that is something that we'll be releasing as another piece of information for users to, again, understand credit scoring, but then also to be able to say, wait a second, I'm valuable. I've got valuable history.
Right.
I should be getting some benefit from these protocols that I'm interacting with. And again, lay those breadcrumbs to be able to bootstrap that movement, that initiative.
I love it, man. So, and I love this post right here. So I love this guy, Brian D. Evans, George, of course. Okay. So I got to give a shout out to Jet with the next crypto gem in the Hourglass community, baby. That's coming out next crypto gem, September 7th. And I'm pumped. I am so pumped about this TV show. I can't wait. Okay. So next question is, hey, did you apply to be on the next crypto gem? And if not, are you planning on applying to be on season 2, which I think might be, who knows, shooting by the end of the year. I'm not exactly sure on the timing on all that, but what do you think there? How'd this happen? How's this going? Is it Brian and George both that are advising you guys?
Yes. So George and Brian are both advisors for Roci. And in short, we're planning to apply for the season 2 of next crypto gem. As you can imagine, all the partnerships we've been pushing through the door, and then also planning for the token launch has been taking a lot of our time and mind share. But once we kind of pass that milestone, that's going to be the next thing that we'll do and handle. And if it's done by the end of the year or whatever, that'll be awesome.
I'm pumped. All right. Looks like you got this Twitter Spaces coming up here tomorrow.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. That's what I was telling you about. So should be a cool little conversation. Definitely semi-futuristic, but again, if you want to see what the future is going to look like in the here and now, I think tuning into that particular spaces is going to be the key, to where you think like, well, whenever people talk about open AI, it's always like super buzzy. Like, but this actually can be something that is open AI, that is governed by a community of Roci token holders, you know, that actually drives a real world benefit that no one controls. It's controlled by the community, you know. So like that's what gets me excited. Again, it's like far in the future, but we're starting. You've got to kind of, you know, plant those first few bricks, and that's what we're doing. And then ultimately, before you know it, you know, you've got a wall.
I love it, man. You know, next time you come on, one thing I want to do is have you kind of walk us through entering the app and, you know, getting in here and looking at this. But I think, you know, we're running out of time today. And is there anything else? Or, I mean, I guess we could today, but maybe let's wait till next time to do that. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think waiting next time, it's always good to leave the audience wanting more, but also there's never a shortage of information that we love to sort of convey. So no other things that I want to talk through. To stay up to date on like what we're doing at Roci, like feel free to follow our Twitter account. So it's just at ROCI FI. And then whenever you're on that profile page, you'll see the link to be able to join our Discord.
Yep.
That's a great way to be able to keep up to date on all the comings and goings, the new partnerships, new integrations, but then also most importantly, the token launch coming up in the middle of September as well. So give those two a follow, join the movement, join the community, and yeah, we'll be super happy and thankful to have true long-term believers. The more the merrier coming on board.
And it's in the description below, the Rocifi Twitter page, and then here's the Discord right here. Give and click the notifications too. They won't overwhelm you with tons of posts all the time or anything. It's worth it. You know, he's in here. Chris is out there grinding. I mean, you see it all the time. Oh, he's in this Twitter Spaces, that Twitter. I mean, I see it almost every day. It feels like he's in a Twitter Spaces speaking. I love it. Love this guy. Okay, man. So maybe here in a couple weeks or so, we'll get you back in the house. We're going to walk through, you know, kind of your platform, how to jump in and you know, take out loans or, you know, put your crypto in. Okay, do different things, kind of showing you guys what we can do within their ecosystem, within their app. Okay, and DeFi, we'll actually get in there and do it next time he comes on, and we'll be talking about the new token launch. We'll be talking about the tokenomics, things like that, the upside of the token. Okay, and all that. We're excited for that. Man,
that sounds fun, man. That sounds fun. Can't wait. Yeah, we'll put something on the calendar here for these coming weeks. But yeah, I'm excited. I appreciate you having me on. Get a chance to talk through some of these sometimes long-winded topics and diatribes that I go on. But as you can see, I'm very passionate about it, and also my team is very passionate about it. And like at the end of the day, we're just actually trying to build something that's going to matter and change people's lives and influence people's lives for the better. Like that's really what it's all about. All the other stuff is just noise, and I think everyone, you know, knows what the other stuff is. And yeah, like that doesn't interest me. We're just trying to build something cool and try to improve some lives along the way, you know?
And it's been a grind for you. I know it's not been easy. It's been hard.
Anytime you're trying to build something of significance, but also you have to go off the beaten path. Yeah. It's going to be more difficult, and it's going to be a grind. But at the end of the day, that's what also makes it worthwhile. And you just keep pushing. You just keep pushing forward. You know, there's always obstacles in your way, but you're thankful for those obstacles because those are great learning lessons. Those are great teachers of life. And also, it calluses your mind so that whenever the next obstacle comes on board, which inevitably it does, you're okay because you've seen that before. And you can make those course corrections. Whenever you don't understand that, that's whenever things start to go awry. And I think you even see a little bit of that within Web3 and DeFi, to where projects maybe pivot out to crypto, or they shut down, or they do, like whenever stuff gets hard, that's whenever people start making bad decisions. And not always, but if you can be level-headed, but also at the same exact time, be strong enough and hopefully bent yourself mentally enough to be strong and see the board clearly, you're not always going to win. That's just life, but you're stacking the odds within your favor. And at the end of the day, that's all we're looking to do, is just continue to stack the odds in our favor so that we can continue to exist, but then also at the same exact time, continue to build the foundational blocks of something that I think will change a lot of people's lives in the not too distant future.
I love it, man. Hey, maybe here in the future, I know life's busy for both you and the project DeFi Kingdoms, but I don't know. I caught a vision one time. I'm like, hey, this will be perfect for DeFi Kingdoms. Get you connected in there with Dreamer and Sunbear, talking about a partnership there. That'd be fun.
I think it sounds great. In all honesty, whenever you brought it up, it's like, again, as we talk about like, how does my on-chain history make me money or provide benefit to me? And like from a gaming perspective and from like the options or use cases, again, are quite endless. Right. And I think like that is one of potentially the killer apps there as well. So I think there's tons of synergies, and that would be cool to hop on a call, connect with them in general, like off camera, but also hop on a chat with those guys to essentially just kick the tires and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we talk about the problem of sustainable DeFi and yield farming, because the problem is the token that you're earning in yield, there has to be strong demand, strong buy pressure, or as we see, it just dumps to oblivion all the way down to zero a lot of times. And then the protocols die. People don't want to get in there and, put their crypto in yield farm. Okay. But with DeFi Kingdoms, okay, it's the earning token is the power token, and they've updated the tokenomics in that ecosystem to where Jewel, for one, is no longer the power token. It's the gas fee, and it's not just the governance token, but it's how you get, if you want to get in there and play DeFi Kingdoms, you have to have power ups, which means you have to stake the Jewel in there. It is governance as well. And the power ups are super important. And I am so bullish on the Jewel token, but also the power tokens is how you play the game. And yes, that is more inflationary of a token, but they also burn 25%. And every time if you want to play the game, that's the power tokens are the primary tokens to play the game. And millions of those tokens are spent every month in summoning and hatching eggs. Okay. The in-game economy is so big brains, and it's the best by far I've ever seen for potential long-term sustainable DeFi and gaming, okay, combined there, because all the in-game items that you earn that from questing and doing different things is absolutely necessary, especially when the game finally comes out, which is being developed by an esport, one of the largest esport broadcasting companies in the country, Wisdom Gaming, Wisdom Labs. And Pervy Sage, baby, our man, is developing an esport level game for DeFi Kingdoms, and the crafting that's going to come. And it's just, the whole ecosystem is so robust and so big brains with big brains tokenomics. Okay. And I'm so, of course, even if a project has the best tokenomics in the world, even if everybody, which DeFi Kingdoms does, even if everybody is, if everybody's leaving the ecosystem, it's going to dump. And that's what we've seen with DeFi Kingdoms. We've just seen a 99.9% exodus out of the ecosystem on kind of unjustified reasons. And so, but I think I see this one having a strong bounce back here because they've been building through the bear. They do weekly AMAs. They keep us updated with everything going on. Big update yesterday. We got lots of things coming, right down the pipeline real soon, an onslaught of announcements. And they've talked about in the past having lending, on their platform and having partnerships for that. And it's like, holy smokes, there's nothing better out there, baby, than Rocifi. Let's go. So love you, man. Well, that'll be another conversation. You guys, there's so much going in both ecosystems.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit down the road.
I'm excited to have that conversation. Super excited based upon everything that you said, in all honesty. So, hey, I appreciate it, Grady, having me on. It's always a pleasure to connect and just chat more in general with you. So thanks so much. And, I can't wait till the next time, in all honesty.
Yeah, I can't either. We'll connect more. I'm going to make it up to you. I feel like I dropped the ball on you guys. I left you guys hanging. I want to make it up to you guys. And I'm on Team Rocifi. This guy, Chris, is like family. This project is legit, people. Keep your eyes peeled on this project. It's going places. I love you guys. Chris with Rocifi and Crypto Grady out. Baby.